Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Wednesday, 8 January. I'm your host Daniel and let's get into the brief. Today we'll be covering Ukraine has striked Russian Air Force oil depot, Germany, France criticise Donald Trump's Greenland threats, and Venezuela has detained 2 Americans as mercenaries. So firstly, Ukraine has announced today that it successfully struck an oil depot in Engels, located in Russia's Saratov region, hundreds of kilometers behind the border. The depot was reportedly used by the Russian Air Force, and its destruction has been executed to cause logistical disruptions for Russia's strategic aviation units, reducing their capacity to launch attacks on Ukrainian cities. According to Ukrainian officials, the attack utilized domestically developed long-range weaponry. This strike is part of a growing pattern of cross-border assaults targeting energy and military infrastructure in both Ukraine and Russia. Moscow confirmed the strike, reporting that 32 Ukrainian drones had been intercepted overnight, 11 of which were downed in the Saratov region. Despite these defensive efforts, significant fires have been reported and can be seen online in videos, causing alarm among local residents who described hearing multiple explosions. Moscow confirmed the strike, reporting that 32 Ukrainian drones had been intercepted overnight, 11 of which in the Saratov region. Despite the defensive efforts, significant fires were reported at the industrial site, causing alarm amongst locals and describing multiple explosions being heard. The regional governor assured the significant resources were being deployed to contain the fire. Meanwhile, Kiev claimed to have downed 63 Russian drones overnight, and Russian shelling in Ukraine's Kherson region left at least 2 civilians dead and 5 injured. So what? This seems like a very specific attack to target aviation fuel directly. Though it is likely that Russia will be able to replace this resource, it will likely allow Ukraine a period of time in which Russia cannot strike targets with air-to-ground missiles. However, this will not affect Russia's ability to launch drone attacks against Ukrainian civilian populations. And next, Germany and France have criticized US President-elect Donald Trump's refusal to rule out military action to take control of Greenland, emphasizing that borders must not be changed by force. Germany's government spokesperson reiterated the importance of international agreements such as the UN Charter and upholding territorial sovereignty. Although he declined to comment on whether Berlin viewed Trump's statements as serious, he confirmed that Germany had taken note of them. Similarly, the French foreign minister condemned Trump's rhetoric, warning against any threats to the European Union's sovereign borders. Barrett remarked that while an invasion of Greenland by the US seemed unlikely, this situation signaled a resurgence of power-driven global politics. Trump's comments have generated controversy as he discussed military and economic strategies regarding Greenland, an autonomous territory of Denmark. He claimed that acquiring Greenland is vital for US security and suggested that tariffs could be imposed on Denmark if it opposed the acquisition. His son, Donald Trump Jr., fueled speculation by visiting Greenland privately. Trump expressed enthusiasm for the idea of making Greenland as part of the US, echoing his earlier interest in purchasing the territory, a proposal that Denmark rejected in 2019, which led to a diplomatic dispute. Interestingly, Polymarket, the online prediction market, currently estimates the chance of Trump acquiring Greenland before July to be just 6%. So what? It seems highly unlikely that the US would use force to take control of Greenland, regardless of Trump's extreme rhetoric. It is also unlikely that Greenland would, even if they were allowed to, vote to join the US. However, it is possible that Greenland will open be open to allowing the US companies to extract some of the resources, which is almost certainly the only reason Trump is interested in the territory. And lastly, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro announced the arrest of 7 foreign nationals, including 2 Americans, whom has he accused of being mercenaries, plotting terrorist acts ahead of his inauguration for a 3rd term. The arrests were revealed on Tuesday, with Maduro claiming that the detainees included 2 high-level Americans, 2 Colombian hitmen, and 3 Ukrainian mercenaries, though no further details have been provided. Maduro alleged that their plans targeted his swearing-in ceremony, which follows a disputed election that the opposition claims to have won by a landslide. In a televised address, Maduro promised confessions from the suspect and deployed police and military nationwide to maintain control. The arrests come amid heightened political tensions as US President Joe Biden welcomed exile opposition leader Armando Gonzalez to the United States, reaffirming support for a peaceful transfer back to democratic rule in Venezuela. Biden's remark followed widespread international condemnation of Maduro's repressive tactics and allegations of election fraud. The opposition has called for massive protests to challenge Maduro's return to power, urging millions to take to the streets. Meanwhile, Maduro has intensified his crackdown on dissent, signaling a broader effort to suppress opposition in the face of renewed domestic and international challenges to his legitimacy. So what? A dictator always needs a boogeyman. While it is possible that this group of foreigners were in Venezuela to try and disrupt his inauguration, it is unlikely that this would have been at the direction of the US government or their intelligence agencies. It is more likely that these individuals are dual citizens being used as scapegoats, or possibly not even real people. Thank you for tuning into the Intel Brief, your daily update on global geopolitics, brought to you by HM Intelligence. You can support the show by sharing it with your friends and leaving us a 5-star review. If you're curious to learn more about intelligence, you can check out our courses in the description below. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you next time.